In this video, you'll discover whether or not bread is actually bad for you. It seems that trying to eat healthy today is more confusing than ever before. If we take the topic of bread, for example, it's something that our ancestors have consumed for thousands of years, but yet today we're being told if we eat it, it's going to destroy our health. So, no wonder everybody's confused when it comes to eating healthy. It feels that you can't eat anything anymore. And so here's the thing, is that we're going to talk about bread in this video. We're going to talk about the nutritional quality of bread. We're going to talk about white bread versus whole wheat bread. And then of course, at the end of this video, what I'll do is give you the best bread options that you can choose from. But before we get started, I'm Dr. Zarowski, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, it's a pleasure to have you here. Be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification, and be sure to join our notification community. That way it can help you excel your health and your life. Let's go ahead and dive into the topic of bread. Now, when we look at bread, one of the things that people tell me a lot is, well, people have been consuming it forever. How could it possibly be unhealthy, right? The thing is that we have to consider here is that there's a big difference from the bread that we consume today to the bread that our ancestors used to consume, right? It's a totally different process. It's a different process in how it's made, and it's also a totally different type of wheat that they used to use versus the stuff that's being used today, okay? Now, when we look at the bread today, it's highly processed, right? We're talking about bleached white flour. We're talking about nutritionally fortified bread. It's very processed, and it's something that, like I said, it'd be totally unrecognizable to our ancestors. It also is loaded with preservatives, okay? There's a reason that bread can sit on the shelf for weeks. There's a reason that you can go to your favorite fast food restaurant, you could take the bread from there and it would never decompose, loaded with preservatives, which are incredibly unhealthy and inflammatory to our gut. So we have to really be careful with that stuff. And of course, make sure that we're avoiding it. It's also genetically modified. When we look at the bread today, it's coming from wheat, which has been, changed over the years so that they could actually create a higher yield. And so, we're just looking at, once again, a totally different type of wheat than our ancestors used to use. The components within the bread, totally different. And so we have to be aware of that. And also we have to look at it from this standpoint, is what else is on your plate, right? When we look at our ancestors, in terms of how we look at food today, bread would probably have been the worst thing that they ate all day, right? They're going to eat some nuts, they're going to eat berries, they're going to eat some meats, and they ate some bread, right? It was the worst thing they ate. But in today's society, people are sitting down for lunch and they're consuming a sandwich with chips and also a soda, right? So therefore, that bread becomes a major issue, right? It's not bread alone that's destroying your health, it's bread along with a whole bunch of other factors, including not only how it's made, but also the other foods that you're consuming. And so we have to really, once again, take a reasonable approach to this. Now, next here, I want to talk about the nutrient quality of bread. So when we look at bread in general, it's very low in essential nutrients, okay? Bread is high in carbs, low in fat, low in protein. It's not looking good here for bread. Low in fiber, low in vitamins, and also it's very low in mineral content. Now, a lot of people are going to ask, well, is it better to actually eat whole wheat bread? Because, I understand that white bread is really bad, but the whole wheat is a better option, right? The truth is that they're pretty much the same. When we look at whole wheat bread versus white bread, the whole wheat does not really have that much higher of a nutritional quality. There's a couple different vitamins in which it scores higher on. There's a little bit more fiber in it, but in general, it's not that much better. And so when we look at conventional white bread versus your conventional wheat bread, you're really going to get a lot of the same nutritional quality out of it, and it's not great. So we have to take that into consideration. Let's go ahead and take a look at the carb content, all right? This is a big deal because, once again, we talked about there's not a whole lot of nutrients in this, but of course it's high in carbs. What you're going to get out of this is it's very high glycemic, and so it's going to raise your blood sugar up very high just from consuming that, wheat bread, that white bread. And then it's going to be linked to obesity, it's linked to type 2 diabetes, it's linked to a lot of different health concerns that people are facing today. It also is linked to a lot of inflammation issues, which is really the root cause of, heart disease, cancer, and a lot of these problems. And so we have to be aware of that. Now, the other thing that we have to consider is that this is a very nutrient empty carbohydrate. You're not going to get a whole lot out of it, right? Now, if we take white bread and we compare it to, and it's a carbohydrate, we compare it to another carbohydrate, which would be like a sweet potato. In the sweet potato, you're going to get a lot of nutrient quality out of it, but like I said, the white bread, there's not much there to get. So when we think of our carbohydrates, we always want to be eating the nutrient-dense carbohydrates, right? It's not that you just have to avoid carbs altogether. We just have to make better choices. So using the more nutrient-dense carbs is going to be more the way to go if you want to improve your health. Now, next is we have to look at the anti-nutrient that's involved with it, right? So not only did it not have a lot of nutrients, it actually has anti-nutrients. Like, could it get any worse, right? And so it has something called phytic acid in it. And so this phytic acid, what it does is it actually goes in and it blocks mineral absorption. When it comes to minerals like calcium, iron, zinc, what it's going to do is basically go in and block them so that you're not able to absorb them. So that's why, a lot of people talk about phytic acid and how bad it is for you, because it actually can cause nutritional deficiencies. Now, once again, stick around to the end, because what I'll do is teach you how you avoid this in bread. And now the other thing that we have to consider here is it's higher in whole grain. So people are thinking, right, I don't want to eat that white bread, but I'll eat the whole grain bread. Well, the phytic acid is actually going to be higher in the whole grain bread. So it's not, once again, it's really not that much better of an option for you to try to move towards if you're trying to eat the healthier option. Now, let's also talk about gluten. You really can't talk about bread without talking about gluten, because it is a major issue in today's society. So here's some of the things that we have to look at. So first of all, gluten is basically the protein that's found in wheat. Now, it also is highly inflammatory. Now, a lot of people already have a lot of inflammatory issues going on in their body. Adding this in does not help by any stretch of the imagination. It also is very damaging to the gut lining, so we want to make sure that we're avoiding it for that reason. And then there's problems, right? There's problems like celiac disease. So there's a lot of people who have celiac disease. It's an autoimmune condition where you just have a violent reaction towards wheat. And as a matter of fact, the thing is that I see people who have celiacs and they still refuse to avoid wheat altogether. And then next thing you know, they start having thyroid issues, they start having brain issues, they start having major gut issues. And yet, even though I told them that they have to avoid the wheat, they just couldn't do it. And so we have to really make sure that we're avoiding that gluten. If we have celiac disease, it's so important. Next is wheat allergies. Okay, so we're really breaking down the reasons that you will not react well to wheat. And so celiac is one of them. Wheat allergies is another one. This is very different than celiac disease. Basically, you have an allergic reaction to the wheat itself, okay? So wheat allergies is a problem, and then also non-celiac gluten sensitivity. What that means is that you do not have celiac. You don't have the autoimmune condition celiac disease, but what you do have is a gluten sensitivity, okay? And so that means that when you eat wheat bread, when you eat gluten, you're going to have a sensitivity to it. You're going to react to it in not a healthy way. You're going to have some of the same symptoms that the celiac people have, but you are not going to have as bad of a reaction. When we have wheat in general, we need to make sure that we're avoiding it if these are issues that we're facing. Now, let's go ahead and move on, and let's talk about the healthy bread alternatives, because this is really important, right? Because I'm not going to lie, and I'm not going to sit here and act like I never eat bread. I'm not going to act like I think it's the most terrible thing in the world. I actually like bread. My family likes bread. I'll discuss that more in a second on how we consume bread in our home. So first of all, Ezekiel is a great option. First of all, it's going to be sprouted, and it also really, through that sprouting process, is not only going to reduce phytic acid, but it's also going to make the nutrients more bioavailable. So this is a healthier bread alternative, turning to the Ezekiel bread. The next healthy bread alternative is going to be sourdough bread. So this is a fermented dough essentially, and it's easier to digest because it is fermented. And when we look at the sourdough bread, it's considered possibly one of the healthiest breads out there. The nutrients are more bioavailable because it's fermented as well. So sourdough bread is also something that's great. In our home, we make things like sourdough pancakes, we make sourdough bread, sourdough pizza, all the different variations of sourdough, and my family really loves it. Next is coconut and almond flour breads. This is also a good option. When we look at coconut and almond flour, it's a great alternative to those people who can't have wheat at all, those people who can't have gluten at all. And the thing is about coconut and almond flour breads in wraps, you can essentially go and buy those, but it's very easy also to make them right in the comfort of your home. It's a little bit more tricky to cook with those different flours, but once you get it down, you can make some really delicious breads out of them. So don't rule that out, and make sure that you highly consider that if you're someone who can't have wheat at all. Next is cloud bread. Now, cloud bread is something that the ketogenic community really loves, and it's something that we use a lot in our home as well. We'll make cloud bread herb sticks, we'll make cloud bread pizza, and so essentially it doesn't have wheat in it at all. Like I said, it's loved in the ketogenic community and also loved by people who can't have wheat or gluten. And then lastly, there's lettuce wraps, okay? If we just wanna, avoid things altogether, it's always great just to get your burger wrapped in lettuce, your sandwich with lettuce instead of bread. And so use those lettuce wraps to your advantage when you go out to a restaurant and you see something. Always ask if you can get it in a lettuce wrap instead of the bread, because avoiding the bread is always going to really help you improve your health and help you lose weight. And just in general, make sure that we're not getting a lot of that low quality bread that's out there that is loaded with preservatives and a whole bunch of other things that we don't want in our body. So be sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you have any questions, put it in the comment section here below. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. I talk about things like weight loss, fasting, also reversing health conditions, pretty much all the things that are going to help you really drastically improve your health. And then hit that bell notification so you never miss another video, and check out my other videos that are going to help you improve your health. And I'll see you in the next video.